Okay, this is a review of an AK550 I did a few months back. It's made by Kimco. Right here I'm looking for my gloves. I forgot my gloves, so I live about an hour away, so there's no way I'm going to go grab my gloves. So it's kind of a rare thing to be able to test ride a motorcycle. This one is used, so the dealer was nice enough to let me test ride it. I ended up not getting this scooter, but I did like it a lot, so I ended up buying a new one. Not much for used. I couldn't quite get a detailed history of this. I believe it's called consignment, where the dealer does not own the motorcycle. And when I had a bunch of questions, I could not get confirmation. So I'm letting the engine, makes kind of a strange sound. I had a Honda PCX at this time, so I'm familiar with scooters. So I was a little nervous about that. I think it's the rollers. It ended up, somebody on YouTube did have the same scooter with the same sound, and I contacted them and they said it was normal. So thumbs up for YouTube on that one. So, but I ended up not getting the used one anyway. Ended up buying a new one with a 2-year warranty. So I'm going over the controls here. I've never ridden this scooter. It's much bigger than my Honda PCX. Honda PCX is like 260 pounds. This one's like 475 pounds. Different controls. I'm real nervous. I don't want to damage anything. I don't want to drop the scooter. But at the same time, I do want to test it. My biggest issue with any motorcycle or any vehicle, whether it's a car or motorcycle, is going to be comfort. I've got real sensitive sit bones. I've got a bad lower back as far as posture. If I have a curved posture, it turns into a bad day the rest of the day. I also have some mid-back issues which can pop up if you hit a bump straight up my spine. So the standard scooter position is probably not the best for somebody like me, or anybody else that has those same issues. And I have a standard motorcycle, KTM 390 Adventure at home, which is a much better ergonomically seating position. But I really like the automatic. So what the heck, I went and test rode this. I love the power. I love the sound. I'm so impressed on this test drive. I only spent a few minutes test riding it, but I was definitely sold on this scooter. Not too many are sold in the United States. This is considered a maxi scooter. I believe it's the only one left. The only manufacturer left that sells them. Yamaha used to have a T-Max they sold. I think they still sell it in Europe. BMW used to sell a maxi. I don't think they make them anymore. I did a review on a C400. If you want to check that out on my channel. It doesn't have the power this one does. Ergonomically, I'm a little better on this one. The seat's pretty good, pretty wide for a scooter. Back there at the stoplight, if you noticed, I reached down and pulled the passenger pegs out. And that's kind of the final plus that sold me on this scooter, because what's happening is if you've got lower back issues like I do, especially in the scooter position or the toilet seat position that some Europeans like to use that description, you can round your back riding like that for a long time. But on this one, there's enough room there. I've got 32-inch inseam on my pants. I'm not doing it right now, but I can put my feet back on those passenger pegs. And when I do that, that curls my hips back, gets that nice curve in my back. It also keeps my back from being straight up and down in case I hit a bump. So if you have like other back issues like I do, and if you hit a bump, straight up and down can hurt. But if you get a little bit of a curve in your back, it's not as big a deal. So again, I'm nervous. I'm still a fairly new rider, about a year. I'm on the freeway with somebody else's motorcycle here. No gloves. This is beautiful San Diego. This is kind of the central part of San Diego. I think it's near Miramar Air Base. I think it was famous in the Top Gun movie. I used to be stationed there when I was in the Navy in San Diego, but it was in the Bay there in the Navy. So I never made it up to this area very much. But again, I think it's the Navy jets there flying in and out of Miramar. But anyway, I'm coming up to the next exit. I'm taking it easy. Again, this is a test ride. They did take my ID. They did take my credit card, and they said if there's damage, they're going to charge my credit card. My insurance does cover it, but they wanted to make sure they got paid. But it's also very rare to get a test ride. So this is the United States, and I do believe in Europe and England and Britain over there, they do allow a lot of test rides, but not here in the U.S. So I'm heading on some streets here. Again, it's very powerful. I wouldn't call this a beginner bike. Very heavy, very powerful. But I was definitely looking for power, so this is what I got. I also like scooters for the front brakes, the front brake and the rear brake being on the handlebars. I'm kind of all thumbs or all bricks when it comes to my feet on the brake and the clutch. So I really like that with the brakes on the handlebar. I had a Honda PCX, like I said. I ended up selling it after I bought this, before I had it delivered. Brakes are Brembo. So on my KTM, I do believe it's the BRYB, I don't know. It's like the baby brother or the baby version of Brembo. These brakes are much better. It's almost like they're sticky. Now this windshield, I did get a lot of wind. I'd say a fair amount coming down the freeway. When I bought my new one, the windshield was set up much. Apparently it's adjustable. I haven't played with it, but I can tell by looking at the little corrugated parts of the windshield that this one is lower. So I haven't messed with the windshield, so it works for me pretty good. I'm a fairly tall person, so like I said, 32-inch inseam, but I'm 6'2", so my body's kind of longer than most people my height, so you want to take that into account. If you're a taller person, it might work out for you. So I'm coming up to the stoplight, not this one, but I think it's the next one where I had a little issue there. This has got a lot of electronics. I'm not a fan of all of that. And coming up to this stoplight, it's kind of the first time I really put my feet down, and I almost fell. Right there, that oil patch looks like it's old oil, but somehow there's some grains of sand on top of it. And then the other issue is the seat is wider, so I wasn't really prepared. You know, I thought I was on my PCX and I was sticking my feet out further than I should have, but my foot slipped right there. So I was glad I didn't fall on that one. So I want to do a U-turn and come back. I am not going to do U-turn in this intersection. I do not want to fall. And again, it's pretty heavy. I do like the scooter overall. I'm going to do another, probably some smaller little reviews on it. One of the complaints is definitely the weight. So I would recommend the Honda PCX if you're a beginner, and then move up to this. Excuse me, here. So I'm going to make a left into this residential area and do my U-turn down there. A little less crowded in case anything gets a little crazy. But I would start on a Honda PCX I think the Honda PCX or something of a 150cc scooter is very good. Gets you out in traffic. If you're going to go to a clutch, getting the scooter first it's kind of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You're going to have to definitely get back into the parking lot and learn that clutch. But the scooter definitely gets you out in traffic. You can learn that part of riding a motorcycle, lane splitting, all that. I'm in California, so you can lane split. But even all the slow speed maneuvers and stuff. Definitely got to use that rear brake. I didn't use it there. Motorcycles, you got the rear brake and you can feather the clutch. So there's a little extra precision there for a jumpy throttle. This throttle is kind of jumpy with lots of power. So I'm not doing it here, but I do tend to put 2 fingers on the front brake just to level out my hand. It's good, for emergencies, for me anyway. But also throttle control keeps you from doing whiskey throttle, keeping your fingers leveled on top of the brake. So I'm headed back. I'm pretty much sold on it, on this style of bike. Like I said, I didn't get this one. I got one with a 2-year warranty. I got the same year. This is a 2022. I ended up buying a new one. This had 4,600 miles on it. So I ended up getting a year-old, it was a year old in the dealer, but I bought it new. I had 2 different dealers kind of fighting over me at the last minute. I'm not real big on negotiations, but texted the one dealer before I walked into the one I was going to buy it. And they had a 2023, the other dealer. They had the blue color. I didn't really like the blue, but I mean, it was a more recent year. So anyway, they fought over it, and I was able to get I would say a reasonable price by having them sort of text me back and forth while I was in the dealer. So that's probably the way to do it, at least for me. So. The weight is not an issue at all. When you're going straight. Like I said, my legs are 32 inches on my inseam. The seat's a little wide. I don't sit all the way back, especially when I'm at the light, when I'm putting my feet down. So I think if you're a little taller, it might be okay as well. 34 inches probably on your inseam. You'd be okay. But I would say, like all scooters, the handlebars are a little low. So it's not an issue when you're going straight, but if you're trying to do low speed maneuvers, you can kind of get that handlebar getting close to your knee, get you a little bit tight. So when you're trying to make low speed maneuvers, it can get a little bit more difficult than a motorcycle, I would say. And this one being heavy, I'm going to keep saying that. It's got 2 hydraulic brake reservoirs there. It's hard to see, but there's actually a little like a divot in the front so that you can look in at the windows there. It's real hard to see. It's kind of dark in there, but you can actually see what your brake level is. The oil in there. Now these mirrors are pretty good. The only issue is when you're at a stoplight, because they're not on your handlebar, you can't see behind you. and you cannot move the motorcycle back and forth to look behind you. So on the new one that I bought, I added handlebar mirrors, and that worked out pretty good. So now I can see people coming up behind me at stoplights, and it does add extra visibility. And I'm comparing this motorcycle for my purposes with the KTM, because I was thinking of getting rid of the KTM 390. If this one worked out to be just the best thing since sliced bread, that's what I was going to do. Turns out I kind of like the KTM better. I like it better than I used to. I don't like it necessarily better than the scooter, but I definitely like it better than before. I don't know why. Somehow I'm getting less stalls, less false neutrals on it. I'm not really a clutch person. I've driven manuals before. Just having a hard time with it. But for some weird reason, riding this scooter every other day with the KTM has really made me a better motorcycle rider for some weird reason. It's become more enjoyable. So maybe I'm a two motorcycle guy. I barely have enough room in my garage. Money wasn't so much the issue. I guess money's always an issue, but room is an issue, bigger issue with me. So I'm getting back off the freeway here. Again, there's some buffeting going on here. Now there's no protection from side winds, of course. So even on my new scooter with the windshield further back or further up, I live in kind of a windy area, and it'll knock you around a little bit. Because the scooter is heavy, though, it's less dramatic than the KTM or even, of course, the Honda PCX, which was freeway legal, but not if you're heavy. I'm also a heavy person, heavier, 230 to 240 pounds without gear. And this has no problem leaving anybody at the stoplight. Bunch of bicyclists. When I was in the Navy down there, I used to ride a bicycle. A street bicycle on the road there, just like those guys. Back when I was in shape. So I'm headed back to the dealer. I'm trying not to show the dealer. I just don't want to advertise them. I don't want to say bad things about them either, even though I kind of hinted at that. But yeah, my relationship with the salesman kind of got soured there. I'm guessing this dealer sells a lot of motorcycles, and they don't have, I don't know, I'm going to leave it at that. So anyway, I'm pulling back into the dealer. They do sell a lot of used motorcycles there in the front. Keep them out front. Controls are, okay, I'm trying to use the side stand. That little piece sticking out I thought was the center stand. Turned out it was the side stand. And I'll probably do another video on this switch. It's very complicated. A lot of buttons going on here. The lower rocker switch is for the lower display on the left. The upper one is for the upper display on the left. And you just have to keep scrolling all the way back around. It gets confusing. You want to go up on the rocker to go back. It doesn't work that way. So anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. This is pretty much the end of the video, and like I said, I recommend this scooter. I wouldn't recommend it for beginners, but definitely I would say it's more of a commuter, highway commuter type of forte. It's what people are looking for when they buy this. So I'm not commuting, but I like it anyway. Lots of room in there. Will hold my 2X full face helmet. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.